Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the finals of Paragon Competitive League.
You said welcome with such
number
conviction.
3.
Welcome. I like
I'm
that.
excited. I'm glad they're here. Welcome. God damn it.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
Oh,
Thank you guys for supporting Competitive Paragon. Thank you guys for supporting these teams. The match arena is up to $320.
that is so
Thank you
sick.
guys.
That is so nasty.
So
that is
sick,
so
nasty, dope.
Oh, got him.
I can hear myself because my background stuff is on. Thank you guys for continuing to watching Paragon Competitive League, supporting Competitive Paragon. We love doing this. Shane, we're jumping into an absolutely incredible final. Carbon EU versus the newcomers, Oxygen NA. Holy crap, Shane.
It's a battle of the noble
Holy
gases,
crap.
man.
A battle of
I'm just
the
kidding.
gases.
Carbon's not a noble gas.
It's science stuff. I'm confused. One of them helps me breathe.
Well, both of them do, because if it wasn't for carbon having the strongest affinity of any other chemical, then that's why it's called carbon-based life, right? Anyways, welcome to the Chemical Competitive League. I digress. Here we are at the finals. It's a best of 3 for the Match Arena Prize Bowl, which continues to grow with your support. Team Oxygen, formerly known as Clint Eastwood. A lot of familiar faces versus Carbon EU. Carbon EU has been in the finals several times. They haven't ever been able to take it. Team Oxygen last time around got defeated by Reborn. Reborn's not here to defend their title. So we're going to have a new champion coin for the first time in a while. Reborn has been the #1 guys. They've won every single Paragon Competitive League, Agora's Risings, dating back to that. So we'll see if this will. This is an opportunity that neither of these teams have had, and you better believe that they have a lot of skin in this game right now, Nacho.
A lot of skin. I prefer if they left their skin on, but yes, a lot of skin in the game. We talked about it a little bit before we went to the break. I think Carbon EU is going to win. I know I'm supposed to be like, go America, but I got to give it to Carbon EU because of their gameplay, because of their teamwork, because of how long they've been playing together as a team. Yo and Mikey's gameplay on Howitzer is insane. I would not be surprised if we see Howitzer denied. Team Oxygen either pick him up or ban it. I also wouldn't be surprised if they deny Marty Decker, because we know how strong or good of a Decker player Marty Rivia is. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I want to see this draft. I want to jump into this game, and I don't want to keep these guys waiting anymore.
No.
Because Shane,
hello,
these matches are going to be absurd.
Oh, they're going to be absurd. They're going to be
so good.
It's going to be calamity. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be confusion. And those are bans right there. Oxygen NA banning out the Steel, and Carbon banning out the Rampage, as you so like to say right there. So the two big kings of crowd control taken out of the equation. So Decker, Howitzer, they have first pick. Which one are they going to put priority on here, man? It's okay. It's the Decker. If I'm Team Oxygen, I'm saying don't let Yo and Mikey get on that Howitzer. That's what I'm telling myself right now.
I agree. Why let him have it? They took our Decker. Take you on Mikey's. Maybe his comfort pick is not the right word, but take his comfort pick and take him off of Howitzer. Make him play another Ranger. Make him play Gadget. Make him play Gideon. Make him play Faye. I want to see Faye.
I want to see a composition of Faye and Bellica and Iggy, and just watch as it loses terribly. So, Howitzer and Severog being picked up here. Severog, I think, is other than Steel and Rampage, certainly the next best frontliner, jungler, crowd controller that you can get. And of course, Howitzer is going to be picked up there, not only because they want it for themselves, but take that thing away from Yo and Mikey, was an instrumental tool at getting Carbon EU to this stage, to the finals. So double fold right there. Okay, so they're going to pick up Grux, not a Seraph, but another hero that is exclusive to Carbon EU, more specifically exclusive to Blood Mortius. He loves this Grux. I actually have modeled my Grux play after him. I think I've exceeded it, to be perfectly honest, but let's not get into that, shall we? And the Muriel as well. So the Decker-Muriel combination, the off-lane Muriel, Carbon EU has been running it, Team Oxygen has been running it. This is really just, I think, has stormed into the scene, and these teams are getting their hands on this off-lane Muriel very early on in this draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked out so well in these engagements. Provides split push. It provides a strong ultimate. It provides strong early game with the shields and the bubbles and the speed boosts. And it's just a really good hero. Early game, transitioning in the mid game, we get to see a little bit more aggressive gameplay coming out. And it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Russerus has done a really good job in the offlane the last couple times we've seen him there.
Very much so, my man. We're going to see what the rest of the picks are here, guys, in just a moment as we get the draft screen back up. I mean, there it is, the Murdoch and the Kwong being picked up right there. I'd imagine that's going to be a guy, Ramriddles on Kwong, and then Sevarog being played by a guy on meds in the jungle there. They could switch that up, but that's generally what we see. The last two picks here for Carbon EU, the carries on board that are available, Twin Blast, Sparrow, Grim. I'd imagine we're going to see Twin Blast. Undead Pilot plays an amazing Twin Blast. Carbon EU shows that they favor that hero over Sparrow. It's not unheard of for Sparrow to be picked up, at least so far here in PCL number 3. It was with Team Oxygen. They already have a Murdoch, though. So I think chances are it is going to be that Undead Pilot on the Twin Blast here.
Yeah, 100%. Undead Pilot. You and Mikey picking up, I don't know where you're at in the draft, but I'm going to pick up Gadget is what I'm going to assume over Gideon. I feel like there's a lot of ways to deal with that. But so Shane,
hello, that's a Nabash right there, boys.
That's what I was going to say. Do we with this last pickup and then picking up Narbash, the strength, are we going to it's better than the pickup of yes, Louis played him well, of Richter. I actually like Narbash a little bit more because of the thunk. It's easier to land. It's a stun. CC is very strong, but he also has a speed boost. He also has health regen.
Ooh.
And his ultimate with that
crash,
bang, boom, bam,
boom,
slowing everybody down, knocking people up in the air.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see. Again, Marty has classed the best support player in Paragon. Let's see how he does with Narbash.
That is a self-imposed, or not a self-imposed, but an imposed title by you, twitch.tv/another notch. No doubt he's certainly one of the best, if not the best support player that we've seen in a long, long time, man. We're just going to load up into this game here in just a couple of moments. So, game number 1 of the finals. Reborn's not here. One of these teams finally want to get that title belt. I wish we had an actual title belt I could, like, ship to these guys. We'll work on that. Maybe we'll get, like, a Patreon going for that or something like that.
One day.
You still are favoring Carbon EU? Looking at the drafts, you're still favoring Carbon EU for this game number 1, or is this going to be is one draft superior to the other to where Oxygen let me rephrase that, is Oxygen North America's draft a little bit stronger? Grux falls off significantly as the game goes on. He's their only frontliner. He has the Muriel and the Decker to support him, but Grux is not as tanky as a Sevarog, a Steel, or a Rampage, or a Richter. A Jungle Richter. Shout out to you, Sundown.
I think Oxygen NA wins the draft here with the damage from Howitzer, the front line of Sevarog, the global alt coming out of Murdoch, and of course the ability to slow and stun and tether with Kwong and Narbash. I give it to Team Oxygen Esports because of the draft. But the gameplay, if I'm going to base this purely on gameplay, Carbon EU has won their games more effectively than Oxygen did. Oxygen played pretty poorly the first start of their matches and then turn it on in the late game. Carbon EU tends to play very cleanly throughout the entirety of a match. So based off gameplay, I'm still saying Carbon EU wins this particular.
There you go, guys. Looking at the drafts, we're going to see Narbash. When it comes to that Narbash, it's all about during the laning stage, it's about landing those stunks. As the game goes on, it's about efficiency of using the Song of His People, the heal, the speed boost as well, and of course his ultimate crash, bang, boom. Its main utility in a competitive environment is the snare. The knock up from it, we don't really see moments where it's like, oh man, he got a 4-man knock up onto the crash, bang, boom. Generally, it's either crowd controlled or the team fight at that point is already over. We'll see, though, as it always is. There have been moments where you're like, damn, that Narbash just won that team fight. Far and few between. Yeah. I hope we're going to see him play the proverbial Song of His People, though. Just about to get into this game here, guys. Just about to.
If anybody's going to play the hero to like the optimum play style and just make that hero look really, really good, it's going to be Marty.
I agree. Absolutely, man. He's consistently been a top support player. And we're going to see how he plays it out on your younger brother, Narbash. Notch, are you prepared?
I'm at 5 seconds, Shane.
4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paragon Competitive League Finals, game number 1. The blood is pumping. The heart rates are elevated. The catecholine has been released. We won't get into the biochemistry of what's going on right now, but let's introduce these teams. Notch Oxygen in A, Imsco on Murdoch, a guy on Meds on Severug, Arsenic on Howitzer, Ram Riddles on Kwong, and Marty Rivia on Narbash.
Carbon EU, game number 1 of the finals. Blood Mortius, rockin' Grux, Rusterus, playing that off-lane Muriel Undead Pilot back on Twin Blast. Yo, I'm Mikey.
Hey!
Picked up the gadget, and Shadon is going to be playing Decker. Shane,
Hello.
Shane,
Hello.
Shane,
Hello.
Shane.
Hello.
2v1 mid lane? Are we gonna, or 2v2 mid lane? Are we going to see the supports back in this mid lane with their Marauder? Are we going to up? It's been working so well this particular event, having a support / Marauder in that mid lane, allowing them to restrict the movement of the Ranger or the caster in the mid lane. Do we see that again coming out of either one of these teams?
Right now, Yo and Mikey already planting himself in the mid lane. Doesn't look like it. As expected, Rustress is going to, for the 4th or 5th time. At this point, it's just standard, to be honest. The off lane Muriel, and it is, that's you called it, Notch. It's going to be Marty on the Narbash and Imsco on the Murdoch into the mid lane. The thing about Narbash, as long as he's effectively landing those thiggity thunks, the harassment potential of this is just absolutely dangerous. Yo and Mikey has to play this carefully, or he might be giving up some kills.
And Thunk is so easy to land.
It really is.
Out of all of like the CC abilities, it's probably the easiest ability to land to it.
Other than Chimera's right mouse button.
Right, because I mean 3 second OP, am I right, Reddit? So we are going to see the 2v1 mid lane coming out of the side of Oxygen NA, but we're going to see a more traditional setup with Undead Pilot and the safe lane against Ram Riddles. I believe this is the first time we've seen Ram Riddles all along. We've seen him on Fang Mao. We've seen him play Greystone, but I believe this is the first time we've seen him on.
Yeah, it's one of the first times. It may be we've seen him play before. Definitely the first time we've seen him here at the Paragon Competitive League. We've actually, I believe, we've casted literally every single game of Oxygen A in the group stages, and now the semifinals and the finals here. So the strength of Kwong. We talk about how he has the early game sustain because it had the lifesteal. Of course, he picked up the standard health potion plus the healer token for the sustain. So he has great lane sustain. He has the on-demand defense utility of his armor, which he can get. But the big thing is landing those tethers underneath towers or catching people out of position and using Fury of the Heavens to engage big AoE burst damage. The first time you got to play this hero, you gave that ability a different name. We'll talk about that later. But it's all about that ability to land that tether, preferably on priority targets in the backline. But that tether is deceptively difficult to be consistent with.
It is. I think it's easier now because travel mode is gone, but it is difficult to land consistently. But if we can see a person that lands it consistently, they tend to help dictate these team fights. Yeah. Shane, over here to the Arsenic playing Howitzer against Rusterus. We saw Rusterus versus Gadget, or was it Rusterus versus Gadget? We saw a Muriel versus a Gadget, and it was pretty even. But I think this lane has to go to Arsenic on Howitzer. I think so. Much better burst potential. Yeah. Much better way to actually deal with Rusterus with that slow grenades, the landmine, and the R2000. I think you have to give this to Howitzer, but it's going to be interesting to see how Rusterus plays this out.
I think Howitzer wins the lane in a sense. Kill potential really is up to Rusterus's reaction to either shield himself through one of the two mechanisms to do so, to mitigate the R2000 rocket. Much more difficult to do than that of a Sticky Bomb. Sticky Bomb's very telegraphed. You just sit there, you wait for the timer to go off, and boom, you shield yourself. R2000 rocket's very, very quick. If Arsenic doesn't just give him any time to react to that, he can definitely get some effective means of harassment, which he's done somewhat effectively thus far. But level 6 and level 8 is when you really start seeing that R2000 rocket chunking people down. But yeah, kills more than likely not as long as Rusterus plays this right. But absolutely, we're going to see more CS, more farm on the Howitzer than that of the Muriel, no doubt about it.
Yeah. So let's talk about the junglers. Blood Mortius and a guy on meds. A guy on meds has a very He's not
Farm
really
oriented. It's much more farm oriented.
Yes, farm oriented. Thank you. It's much more farm oriented. He's not looking for those early game picks. I mean,
As
right
you
now,
say
as I
that,
say that,
as you
he's
say that,
positioned.
Subjugate's going to miss. Yo and Mikey did a little bit of a stutter step action there to dodge it. Continue on what you were saying about how Guy and Meds never rotates.
He doesn't rotate, is what I was saying. But he is a very he focuses on that farm early game till he gets about 5 card power. I'm sorry, I'm gonna sneeze.
And he muted himself as he got to the mute button in time.
I got it. So a guy on Meds focuses on that farm till he gets to level 5 and he picks up a card. While Blood Mortius is a little bit more aggressive in that jungle position. A lot of people know Leo Grande. If you've been watching, you know Blood Mortius. They both play kind of aggressive. They look for those ganks. They look for that kill potential. And
I would say they have similar play styles.
Yeah, similar
Leo
play
Grande
styles.
and Blood have similar play styles.
Correct. When you compare that to a guy on Meds who's much more about that farm, but it works out for a guy on Meds.
Yep.
It's been working for, and you said this in the first game, they play around that style, which gives them full oxygen, and they play the long game. So they're not looking for those early game kills. They're looking for key moments in engagements, someone out of position, waiting till Imsco has a little bit more damage. Or Arsenic has a little bit more card power and damage, and then they start taking these engagements, and then they look for team fights. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two play styles clash, and whether we see a guy on Meds being way more aggressive than I'm used to.
Hey man, he's tired of you saying that he doesn't gank enough, and he's saying I'm gonna see if I can prove him wrong. There, Subjugate did miss opportunity as come and gone. The the off lane tower here for Oxygen NA is sure to fall here with this creep wave being pushed out. Huang has decent wave control and decent wave clear, especially once he starts getting a couple items, but early on it's not that powerful, so they actually aren't going to let that tower fall. I believe that was intentional there, to be honest, because I talk about this, there's sort of a silver lining to your offlane going down specifically for your offlaner, and that is it allows the wave to push a little bit deeper into your base in the early stages of the game when it's very, very greedy and very, very risky to push a tier 2 tower. So it basically provides you safer means of farm. The tower is going to fall. I have a feeling Ramriddles let that fall intentionally. To be perfectly honest, he had no. I mean, if he wanted to save that tower, he would have focused down the siege minion there. He just didn't do that. Let it fall, and I'd imagine that is the case right there.
Or rotate off the jungle camp, because he stood there and took that jungle camp while I was pushing.
Yeah.
So I believe you're right. I think Ramriddles just let it. It allows him to farm safer. It puts him in a position to freeze the lane back towards his tier 2 tower and really keep Undead Pilot and Shadon, if they continue to stay in this lane, farming. But it gives him safe farm. It gives him card power. It allows Ramriddles to do what Ramriddles likes to do, and that's push these lanes out and then rotate to team engagements. So we already are right off the bat seeing him get aggressive. Push this lane down. He's going to back. I believe he's going to purchase. He's at 9 and 11 right now. So I expect him to clean up maybe these jungle camps and then back off. But that's going to have a rotation. Undead Pilot and Shadon are now going to rotate off. Looks like they're going to rotate to the off lane against Arsenic.
Yep. And
put them in that position where they're continued to farm or they can continue to get aggressive. But Arsenic is not really a target. Hauser's not really a target that you can just push around in lane.
Not at all.
Lane. If played well, he can actually really hurt these two, and he's already dealt 25% damage on Shadon with an R2000. So he's a hero that can really defend this lane well and punish Undead Pilot and Decker.
And he's not even level 8 yet. He doesn't have that level 4 R2000 rocket online, so the damage potential of that ability is just going to go up in about a level and 1/4 here, which him being in a solo position he'll be able to obtain here in just a matter of minutes. Elaborating further on allowing that offlane tower to fall specifically for Oxygen North America here, you touched on how Oxygen North America plays the long game. It almost feeds into their play style. Hey, just let Ramriddles farm safe for a while and let him get that card experience. Ramriddles isn't known for his, being in the safe lane and setting up kills and being that hyperactive when it comes to rotating around, and pushing that offlane tower down plays into that. So I think Oxygen A are happy for a number of reasons about that tower falling here. And of course Arsenic, sure, he's up against a Twin Blast and a Decker, but he's still, that is a lane where if they don't play that appropriately, Arsenic can absolutely get some kill potential. If the guy on Meds rotates over, they also have Long Arm of the Law on Imsco, who just recently hit level 5, soon to be level 6. So there's kill potential in all 3 of these lanes right now for Oxygen in A, and even with the lanes being shifted a bit, with the offlane tower going down, I still think the lanes, all three of them, favor Oxygen in A right now.
Yeah, I again, initially looking at the draft, I gave this Oxygen A up because of their draft. If Carbon EU can get aggressive early, punish these guys for playing that long game, punish these guys for having kind of this static gameplay where they focus on their farm and they focus on their lanes, I think Carbon EU can take this, but they have to get aggressive and they have to punish the static gameplay coming out of Oxygen NA. If they play the long game, Oxygen NA wins this.
We'll see what the plan is here. Yoi Mikey being very static. His howitzer play in mid he was always rotating to team fights, showing up. Though it's hard to rotate to team fights when team fights really have been elusive. We're here at 11 minutes. Guy on meds, moving forward. Subjugate is not going to land. Looks like Marty didn't have a thunk to provide to set that up as well, so Restorus is able to get away from that gank. Imsko is just happily farming to his heart's content in the mid lane. River buffs have spawned. Marty is going to pick up the purple buff and then immediately auto-attack to drop it. Big play right there coming out. This is a pretty early Raptor being taken right here, Notch. Normally we see it around that 15-minute mark. Right before the third one spawns is when they're going to pick up these two Raptors, and I don't think Oxygen A has any idea about these ongoings.
No, there's no wording around it. Yes, these Raptors are loud. That's why my a little bit. There's no wording around that. They weren't looking for that. This rotation from Shadon and Undead Pilot put them in that position to where every 4 minutes they can rotate over. We will have another Raptor camp spawning in just a few minutes. They're going to get back to defending this lane. The one thing I want to point out, Shane, that we didn't, is Rustorus actually moved to the mid lane and Gadget moved to the off lane to face Kwang.
I like that a lot.
I like that a lot. Yes, he lost the tower a little bit early, or his tower fell a little bit earlier here, but it's going to give him the farm, and it's going to allow Gadget to be more of an impact in the lane and in possible engagements because Rustorus has
Arsenic is in some trouble. Knock on mine is there, but Shadon taking the kill from Undead Pilot, saying I'm the carry here. Nonetheless, there's your first blood. 12.5 minutes into the game, there's the first blood. I think that speaks volumes about how these teams currently are playing against each other. They're not just running at each other, going for each other's throats, and both these guys have been very good about sensing rotations. I think that was just simply a misplay from Arsenic. They're going to give up that kill and potentially give up this tier 1 tower. Electing to fall back here is Undead Pilot. I mean, level 6 Decker, though. Just now, Imsko and Marty are rotating over to the mid lane to the safe lane to deal with that push.
Yeah, they're rotating the push. They'll be able to clear it, but Undead Pilot. Oh, I thought they were going for the Raptors. Are they going for the Raptors?
Thinking about it, it's only one right now, so it'd be very quick for them to do it.
And they just gave Undead Pilot the black buff, which is very, very strong.
Well, look at Shadon has already set up preemptively into the jungle. Containment fences down. A guy in meds is trying to find himself a way out of it. The Blaboners is here with the green buff. A smash and grab. A couple pops-offs from the Undead Pilot on Twin Blast. And that's going to be a guy in meds going down. That's going to be another kill going over to Carbon EU. Carbon EU, who normally are a very proactive, rotation-heavy team in the first minutes of the game, are playing a little bit slower, a little bit more calculated and cerebral, but it's really playing out for them very well. They get the kills, and without hesitation, Notch, immediately go over to the Raptors. Oh, but never mind. It was Arsenic went ahead and stole that Raptor from him, saying, thanks for the card experience, boys.
I want to point something out because it's the first time I've seen this, to my knowledge, casting any of these events. The lack of wards on the side of Oxygen NA. They Ramriddle just picked up a ward. They only have 3 with wards. Right when I wanted to bring it up, it was because they only had a guy on meds and Marty with wards. They had really no wards on their map. And you take a look at Carbon, where you've got Blood Mortius with a ward, Rustorus with a ward, Yoi Mikey with a ward, and Shadon with a ward. So the fact that you can see the difference on the map. Carbon EU has been warding a lot more effectively than Carbon NA, or than Oxygen NA. And we're seeing that by Raptors being given up early. Undead Pilot picking up those Raptors. I mean, they're playing just a little bit smarter. So this is the first time we haven't seen a team where they're at least running 4 to 5 wards in a finals in a competitive game.
Maybe it's just through the slow pace nature of their style. They're like, you know what, guys, we're just going to farm. Just farm under the towers, and if called missing, and if someone's missing, we'll back up. Or they're just maybe just Just be like, hey, let's try winning a game without wards. I have a feeling it's more the former, or I'm sorry, the latter than it is the former there. That slow pace, they really don't need wards to catch people out per se. It's more war. Ruster's going to use that reversal of fortune immediately into the team fight we go. As Yo and Mikey was fairly low, getting bullied around by Ram Riddles, but now he's snared up by Rusters. Yo and Mikey uses the Seek and Destroy, and here comes Blood Mortius. If he can charge, does he have mana for a charge and a smash and grab? Barely able to get away from that smash and grab. Turn around here. Here comes Guy and Meds. Colossal blow, knocking Yo and Mikey out of position. With a speed boost from Rusters, the alacrity is there. The long arm of the law, the R2000, 2 whiffed abilities is going to keep Yo and Mikey alive right there. Uncharacteristic. Imsco has missed the past 2 long arm of the law, but Crash Bang Boom is the song being played right now for Oxygen North America. They pick up Blood Mortius, the first real engagement back and forth of these 2 teams. And the only one who's going to go down is the jungler of Carbon EU. Blood Mortius gets taken out. Undead Pilot looking for Ventilate on an Imsco, narrowly able to escape. Is the Punisher, is the Peruvian powerhouse, but Shadowrun is trying to do something. A Stasis Bomb is going to land. Line him up. And down goes the carry player, just like that, of Oxygen North America.
So we saw the long arm of the law miss. That was because of the landmine from Arsenic. It popped and it pushed Yo and Mikey out of range, and that's why he survived in the long arm. And then of course the R2000 missed as well. So it was a little bit of a anti-synergy there with that landmine. Instead of knocking him back in, he ended up knocking him away, and of course out of that long arm of the law. That's why Imsco missed there. But Imsco is going to fall while Undead Pilot does survive, so of course that is a great kill. Ram Riddles continuing to be aggressive in these lanes, pushing these towers down while he can. Shadon is rotating off to help defend this tier 2 tower. While we have a second, Shane, let's take a look at the creep score. 376 to 340. We've got the carries 22 card power on Imsco, Undead Pilot sitting at 25, and that's because of those Raptor picks up. And
absolutely.
Of course, the 1 kill he has. We're seeing Rustris not building damage based in that offlane position that he was at, but he's building that support base, Tempered Plate, Lord's Ward, the diamond with the basic Chronos and mana regen there. We've got Yo and Mikey building more of a traditional build instead of the adamant edges with the burst engines, the Solaris reactor, and Rashadon already's picked up the Honor of the Pure. He's going to put health in that, building Tempered Plate with health and mitigation as well. So Honor of the Pures online early. Ram Riddle's going with attack speed build. Your standard, if you're a Fury, you build Madstone Gems, you build early cost cards. I gotta say though, Shane, watching Undead Pilots play, I really like the micro
nuke, or the micro nuke rather. I do too. It makes you want to jump into Monolith and test that build up. Containment Fence has gone down. Oh man, the challenge of the Warlord from Blood Mortius interrupted Arsenic's escape ability. It's no, the weather forecaster is clear and open skies. No rain today. Severog and Howitzer, just like that, are taken out. Beautiful Containment Fence. Great follow-up. But what is the call here from Carbon EU? Yo and Mikey gets thunked up, but it's just Marty Rivia. Going to get hit by a Stasis Bomb. And he follow from there. A little bit of damage coming out from the Sticky Bomb. But this Tier 1 tower, sure to fall. Can they get more off of this? I mean, we're 18 minutes in. There still is going to be a 5v3 situation for upwards of another 25 seconds or notch.
I think the big thing is probably going off and picking up the Raptors. Undead Pilot has been prioritizing these Raptors. Carbon EU is doing this, and that's exactly what they're going to do. One Raptor is up. They're going to rotate off. They're going to give this Undead Pilot, keep him that lead. They pick up the 2 kills, the Tier 1 tower. They're perfectly fine with that. Go get this huge economical advantage, and that's exactly what they do. River buffs are about to spawn, so they're going to deny them the river buffs as well. They're going to back. They're sitting on card power. They're sitting on unused potential. 24 of 31 for Undead Pilot. That's power that he's not utilizing. He's going to back off. He's going to sell, build into his micro nuke, or I'm sorry, impact hammer, sell one of his micro nukes, and max out a Blade of Agora. So you see that. I mean, that's a huge power spike for him right there.
Massive, dude.
Bonus crit is online. He's way ahead of Imsco right now. 27 card power for Imsco. He's got his crit online. He's going to be able to start building into lifesteal here. After he finishes his micro nuke, we'll see him build into lifesteal. But he's got such a massive power spike from that one engagement. Picking up the tower, picking up the kills, picking up a Raptor. It's put him in a position where Undead Pilot has to be your target. If you let him free cast, you're going to get punished.
Very much so. So Carbon EU are in firm control of this game right here. They're picking up the Raptors every single time. The only one that Oxygen North America have been able to pick up was that cheeky steal from Arsenic. Otherwise, they've been winning these fights. They're winning it on the economical front. Map control is pretty much a wash at this point, but they still have their Tier 1 tower alive, so a slight lead when it comes to the map control here. I feel like Ramriddle's on this Kwong. I haven't felt his presence in this match notch. I'm not going to lie. When we see him on Fang Miao, when we see him on Greystone, and I dare say even when we see him on Muriel, I felt like he has been more impactful in these matches. At this point in time, the split, that pushing, static pushing style that we see out of him so frequently hasn't done much at all. The Tier 1 tower is just now going to fall. Transitioning over to Blood Mortis in the jungle. He has his green buff, looking for an opportunity to steal the green buff of his opponent, as well as maybe get a kill. Not going to be happening. Guy Meds picks it up for himself, and they are going to be aggressing from what otherwise could be a sticky situation. Guy and Meds actually looking to get aggressive here. Charges forward, looking for a Subjugate. Subjugate point blank. That must have been a purple buff, trying to find him. Martyr is cut out. The R2000 rocket. This Master Grab is there. The containment fence as well. And the support is down. Blood Mortis is going to get himself out of that situation. The barrage is down. No damage being done, but zoning them in a very, very bad position. Imsko's now in trouble here. He's trying to take out Shadon. The Subjugate's going to land, but that's all a guy on Meds is going to be able to contribute to this team fight. Imsko, what can he do? Undead Pilot is very, very close. Imsko's going to go for it, and boom, the Punisher, the powerhouse, gets the kill, takes the corner, pops off, and takes down Twibus, and a guy on Meds comes back and takes out another one. 3 for 1. Now Shadon is in a lot of trouble. Can they get the kill into Imsko? Blink forward. They don't get it. Muriel gets the kill. That was greedy from Imsko, to say the least. The lone survivor for Team Oxygen is going to be a guy on Meds. Marty just spotted back to the fight. Very, very close exchange, but that is going to favor Carbon EU. Yo and Mikey immediately going to that right lane to push out as hard as he can.
Wow. What a good engagement coming out of Carbon EU. Great collapse there. Blood Mortius, he picked off Marty Rivia. That smash and grab landed, was able to zone him out. They got that kill very early on, put them at a huge advantage. Yes, Imsko rotates in and is able to pick up some kills. He did land his long arm of the wall chain onto Blood Mortius. Blood Mortius walked away with 12 health.
Oh, the dozen.
He ends up going back in and getting picked up and killed, but Imsko missed that kill there. I like the play from Imsko. I like that aggression. They've been very static, like you said.
I dare say that was a little bit of a potato play.
A potato play out of the Imsko?
Out of Imsko.
Imsko, no, never with the potato plays. Not that potato farmer.
He's not
Irish.
Irish.
I like the aggression. I like the aggression out of him. He's been behind. He's lacking in card power. Undead Pilot has been prioritizing these, so he knows he needs to pick up kills. He does get the kill on Undead Pilot.
There you go.
And
Talk about foreboding.
He does get the kill on Yo on Mikey because he knows he needs them, and he lands them. But I like the aggression. Yes, he got punished for it, but I like the aggression. I think he needs to continue that. This match is much different than we've seen from Carbon EU. They started out a little bit slow. They're starting to pick up and be the Carbon EU we know.
Blood Mortis trying to catch out Imsko. The reversal of fortune is there, and in a smash and grab, Imsko's getting CC'd. Can they keep him alive? I don't know if that's going to be the case. Make It Rain is going to force them out of a situation, but the pursuit continues on to Guy on Meds. Arsenic uses the mine, tries to defensively, but it's not in the correct position. Smash and grab is up in a second. Ventilate is there to long range damage from Twin Blast. And they get 2 kills just like that. Even though their gadget was dead, they go into the jungle. I don't think Oxygen A was prepared for that. They thought, hey, we just got to kill on gadget. Let's go into jungle and farm safely. Carbon EU pulling a quick one out from Oxygen.
And picking up a tier 2 tower. That being said, Ram Riddles is also dealing a ton of damage.
Oh, Marty's in trouble too. The smash and grab Blood Mortius. These smash and grabs, 3 in a row that have secured kills, and now they're going to continue to push with no range carry to deal with, no big DPS, no, the wave clear of Howitzer not on board as well. There's no siege minion, but they're just going to push this down. Blood Mortis is just tanking it up. A guy in Meds is here, but I don't think he's going to be able to defend this inhibitor. The wave is here. Down goes the inhibitor, and just like that, the charge down left lane, they get the tier 2. I wasn't expecting them to get an inhibitor there, but that was entirely enabled by Blood Mortis' heads-up play to catch out Marty and get the kill on the Narbash.
So we saw that tower damage just being... Shadon tanked about 7 to 9 shots. He popped his Honor of the Pure, was able to tank that.
Yep.
And then switched the damage over to Blood Mortis. Blood Mortis continued to tank it. They do get the inhibitor. Ram Riddles was trying to make a play
Yeah.
on the other side of the map and pick up a tier 2 tower. Rustress backed up and defended it. Shane, you said it earlier. Ram Riddles has really not been a part of any of these engagements. He really
Not
has
at all.
presence in the team fights, and it's actually starting to hurt Oxygen NA. It's worked for them in the past, but I don't think the split push is going to work against Carbon EU. They need to group up. They need to start taking engagements together. They're behind in card power. Undead Pilot Shane, he's got a 10 CP lead,
Wow.
10 CXP lead over Imsco. I've never seen that before. He's picking up his lifesteal. He's going to be able to solo the Orb Prime if he wants to. Or lifesteal is going to be the next one he picks up. And at that point, he'll be able to solo the Orb Prime. They've got such a lead right now that I don't know if Oxygen's going to be able to come back from this.
It's going to have to be a misplay from Carbon EU or a great play from Oxygen, a combination of the two potentially. I think a reason why Ram Riddle's split push, those normal shenanigans that he puts on display, hasn't been effective is because of this offlane Muriel. No longer an offlane, but the support in the fights has been the Decker. And anytime that Ram Riddles is split pushing, Muriel is there. She can show up to a fight at a moment's notice with her mobility. Ram Riddles does not have that luxury. So Rustress has pretty much been the delegated to dealing with the split push. And since they have the reversal of fortune, that global mobility, and Ram Riddles does not, they just simply have more of, they have a tool dealing with the split push and a tool of team fighting better. Shadon was cut out with a subjugate. Containment fence is used. Are they able to turn this around? Tesla Dome goes down, make it rain to get himself out of this situation. Blood Mortis is shielded up. Ram Riddles in trouble. It's the first time he showed up to a fight, but can he actually do anything? I don't know. He's still alive. And down goes a guy on meds. A 1-for-1 exchange thus far. Grux for the Kwong. But a lot of cooldowns have been used. Shadow's in a lot of trouble. Marty looking for the kill. Rocket jumps up. It's not enough. Subjugate isn't going to be there. A guy in meds is trying to pursue down Rustress. Can he do it, though? Rustress is juking. He's jiving. He's trying to keep himself alive, and he is able to stay up here. Carbon EU! So very close. Oh, baby, a triple onto the gadget of all people. And only death for them is Blood Mortius. His job was done the moment he went in there and confirmed the kill. And they're going right to the left lane. They are going for the game. Are they going to be able to do it? Shadow's very, very low. So is Rustress. But Undead Pilot, he's so farmed. Yo-I Mikey, he has enough damage as well. It's up to a guy on meds. Colossal Blow to try to clear the waves. He has to get this out, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think this is going to be game number 1. Rustress is low. He's tanking out the damage. Guy on meds is trying to chase down Shadow, but that is not what you want to see when it comes to a core defense. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Undead Pilot continuing to shoot it down. Guy on meds gets the kill, but it simply does not matter. Game number 1 goes over to Carbon EU.
They baited that Orb Prime out. I don't know if you saw it when it first started. They came over, they popped off a couple shots, allowed it to start attacking. The moment they saw the rotation, everybody backed off. It wasn't even Twin Blast standing there. Undead Pilot wasn't attacking it. It was Shadon attacking it. They rotated in, and Imsco tried to come back and around a Stasis Bomb landed. Undead Pilot melted Imsco. Yo-I Mikey actually ended up getting the kill because of the sticky bomb. Yo-I Mikey
that was a triple on gadget. You don't see that very often.
Yo-I Mikey with the triple kill there. Seek and destroy, slowing down Narbash plus the sticky bomb as well. And then they go for the throat. Ram Riddles was never a factor in any of those engagements. When he did show up, he just got deleted. I think the big issue with Oxygen NA's playstyle there was Ram Riddles focusing so much on the split push and the very static gameplay.
Yeah.
Carbon EU punished that. They know Ram Riddles is all the way on the other side of the map. We have an advantage. Let's push it. And on top of that, just the great coordination coming out of Carbon EU. Moving on to a game number 2, taking the first game off of Oxygen NA. After watching that gameplay, I still have to say Carbon EU is going to take this series. There's a lot of mistakes that Oxygen NA can fix, but Ram Riddles has to be a factor in game number 2, Shane.
The Muriel offlane was the integral part of mitigating Kwong there. I touched on it a little bit in the game, but now that we have time to talk about it post-game here, Carbon EU recognized Ram Riddles has a very... I don't want to say it's one-dimensional, because it's not that that's the only thing he can do, but it's one-dimensional in the sense that that's the only thing he does. That entire match is push, 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 that wave down. And the best tool available at dealing with those sort of playstyles is a global presence hero. Muriel to a much lesser extent, Kalari. Muriel right now, I think, is just in a better state than Kalari is to deal with that. And we've been seeing Muriel, even prior to this match, being brought up as a off support as opposed to a core support, like a 4-3 position as opposed to that hard 5 position with very little farm in the safe lane or the mid lane. I really like that. I think if Oxygen and A are going to, if Ramriel specifically is going to continue to have that play style, they need to either get the Muriel for themselves or just outright ban it, and then allow Ramriels to push, and play around that.
Right. Which I don't think we're going to see Muriel. I want to see a Muriel ban. We've seen the strength of Muriel this entire event.
So
the nice thing about
strong.
the Paragon Competitive League is we're seeing it's not the 2v1 that Epic was not forcing. Forcing is the wrong word, but Epic wanted people to look at. They gave us this new map.
Yeah.
And we're seeing these competitive teams look at this and be like, you know what? We're going to play it this way. It's more effective. With rotations being as fast as they are, we're going to play 2 support/carry in the middle lane because it allows you to restrict that mid lane caster. But we're seeing the strength of heroes like Muriel played in the off lane, that every time we've seen a Muriel in the off lane, they can defend well. They show up to team fights because of Reversal of Fortune. They provide so much to their team that I'm honestly expecting Muriel to be banned for the next round.
If not banned, at least denied picked. If not banned, at least denied picked. Or Carbon and A might switch it up. Ramriels might switch it up there and maybe be a little bit more active on the map. Nonetheless, the only way to see is to get into game number 2. So without further ado, we're going to cut to a very short break, get that underway, get that all set up. Guys, head over to Matcherino, contribute to the fund that these guys are playing for right now. If not, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. I'm Shane. That's Notch. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Stay tuned.